So far we have seen two different ways to solve systems of equations. The first was by graphing, the second was substitution, and the third method is called elimination. So what happens when we solve a system by elimination is that we actually add the equations together and one of the variables will cancel or eliminate from the equation, leaving us with one variable and one equation which we can solve. So our first step, add the equations together. So when we take a look at our two equations here, notice how our y's both have a coefficient of 2. One is positive, one is negative. So I'm going to add my 3x plus 4x, that gives me 7x. Negative 2y plus 2y will cancel with one another. And 0 plus 14 is 14. So then it becomes a very simple divide both sides by 7 equation. So x equals 2. So solve for the variable that's left. Now we are going to go back and solve for y. The nice thing with elimination is that it's really easy to solve for the first variable. It's a little bit harder to solve for the second variable, whereas substitution is the other way around. So I'm going to take my x equals 2 and I get to choose either one of the equations. This one has two positive numbers, so I'm going to use that so I don't lose track of my negative. So I substitute 2 for x so that I can solve for y. 4 times 2 gives us 8. Subtracting 8 from both sides. And dividing everything by 2. So we get y equals 3. Remember to write your solution as an ordered pair. X coordinate first, y coordinate second. And then our very important step, we need to check and make sure that this works in the other equation as well. So I'm going to take 2, 3, substitute it into the equation I did not use to solve for y to see if it checks out. Sometimes I put a little question mark until I know that it checks, because we may have made a mistake somewhere. So we get 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 minus 6 is 0, so that does check out. Let's take a look at one more similar to that one. Again, start by adding the equations together. This time notice negative 3x plus 3x cancels. So we have 4y plus 2y gives us 6y. And negative 4 plus 34 is 30. Solve for the variable that's left, dividing both sides by 6. We get y equals 5. Substituting that into one of the original equations. So I am going to choose, again, my second one, just because all of the numbers are positive. Substituting 5 for y to solve for x. 2 times 5 gives me 10. Subtracting 10 from both sides. We have 3x equals 24. Dividing both sides by 3, we got x equals 8. We're going to check our solution after we write it as an ordered pair. So we got an x value of 8 and a y value of 5. So now we need to substitute that into the first equation, the one that we did not use to solve for x. Replacing x with 8, replacing y with 5. Does that equal negative 4? Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. 4 times 5 is 20. And negative 24 plus 20 does equal negative 4. So that one checks as well.